Hi, and welcome to the Awesome Dynamic Show. This is Paul DeWarian with Awesome Dynamic. I'm the president and owner. With me today, I have several staff members, including a brand new one, Amy Van Wee. She's welcome, Amy, for joining us. This is actually her first day with Awesome Dynamic, so she's joining us for our weekly webinar. Today, we're going to again do the roundtable topics, and we're going to jump into several different topics, including some of the new innovations and delivery options, and a really cool article that we found that dives into a lot of data. And Phil's going to give us introductions on all those. But as you know, with Awesome Dynamic, you can always get a hold of us at 800-238-1811 or visit us at www.awesomedynamic.com. With that being said, let's dive right into the content. Phil, can you please tell us about that first article?
Certainly. It's an article about how big data and Amazon reviews, it makes the reviews digestible. It was in a blog at the site minimaxir.com, and that's Max Wolf, who parses data a million different ways for a living out in, on the West Coast. And it's a very technical article with a lot of information on how to look at the data in regard to Amazon reviews. But the question, when you look at it, gets to do some product categories just always score higher than others on average? And if so, why? And what categories are buyers ranking the highest and the lowest in that data? And to my mind, is it all really just simply a matter of a measure of degree of frustration generally with each of the product categories themselves?
And that one graph, and Tim, you did bring that up, excellent. This one particular graph that you mentioned, Phil, what I saw right away when I took a look at it is all the way at the bottom, cell phones and accessories. 3.81 average review, which isn't really surprising to me because in that particular category, I do notice that there are plenty of foreign folks trying to sell on Amazon. A lot of folks in China listing products, and typically a lot of what we've seen, at least when we've been exposed to that particular category, is the quality, at least of the product itself, isn't always causing the issue. A lot of times it's the quality of how the listing is written. And we've worked with quite a few companies that are from other countries where English is not their first language, and a lot of those listings, if they're not properly presented or worded correctly, can really frustrate a buyer if they didn't get what they expected from Amazon. So I could see that causing some issues with the reviews. In those situations, it really should be well, the option exists for each buyer. They can choose to leave a feedback on the seller's account, or they can leave a review on the product listing itself. And those two things are different, but a lot of customers don't know that there is a difference between the two. So oftentimes, if they are frustrated with the seller, they may leave negative reviews on the product, even though it should be going on the seller. But they might be just venting about, I went to the product, it said in the bullet points I would get this. When I received the product, it was something different, and 1-star review. So that can happen very quickly if you don't really pay attention to what you're saying about the product and what the expectation might be of the buyer. Tim and Blake, wanted to know if you guys had any comments on that particular aspect.
I think it just makes sense. Digital music and CDs are at the top of the list, and they're kind of products where you know exactly what you want, and kind of not going to be getting defects on a music and digital, where something like a cell phone case and accessory from shady third-party sellers could be a much higher frequency of unfortunate purchases. So I think that graph makes sense, and the data does hold true for why those two are at the top and the bottom. Everything in between we could discuss all day, but yeah, I just wanted to discuss the kind of the highs and the lows. So just something to be wary of if you're getting into video games, cell phones, and accessories. You're looking at a category where people might also review bomb you over your minor grievances because they have all these high expectations, and one one minor grievance equals a review bomb, which will in turn decrease your sales or worse, halt them. So, yeah.
There's another graph on here. Tim, if you wouldn't mind pulling it up, it's two more graphs down in the article.
Sure. Yeah.
Ratings breakdown for reviews given on Amazon products by month. And this looks like all categories combined. As some of you may know that are watching this, there used to be the opportunity to incentivize reviews, and that has been taken away recently. But you can see this data only goes through the midpoint of 2000 or through July of 2014. So it'll be interesting to see if on this graph you see the history and the number of stars given across all the different products, if there is a spike in 5-star reviews or higher reviews during the period that incentivized reviews were allowed, and then if there is a drop off after that was cut off. That would be very interesting to see. That being very recent, and that's something where there have been other studies that we looked at when we talked about on a different webinar, the incentivized reviews, where oftentimes people that are given a free product leave a higher review than if they were actually purchasing it at the normal price. So I would imagine that that would affect the data in some way. Tim, did you want to jump in with any additional comments on either two of these items?
Yeah, I thought that was rather interesting, at least for the second chart here. Just how few 2-star reviews are given out. I mean, you look at it, the breakdown, it's been pretty consistent that it seems like not many people actually give out 2-star reviews. If they're negative about it, they seem like much more likely to do a 1-star review, or if they're kind of moderates, they do a 3-star or a 4-star. So I find that kind of interesting. I'm not sure quite what that indicates, but it seems like usually if people think it's less than 3 stars, they probably just end up giving it 1 star. Is probably the behavior I would kind of glean off of that.
Well, in general here, this is a very interesting article. Definitely worth diving into a little bit more if you're interested in the history and the data and what drives reviews. And this, I think Blake had mentioned, this was at the top of what, Hacker News. Is that right, Blake?
That's correct.
Okay, so and there's a lot of comments on this too. So we'll include a link to this. In fact, Tim, would you mind putting that up, broadcast that on the webinar now for those that are watching? And then Phil, if you could include that in the comments, that would be phenomenal.
Sure.
All right.
Great.
Lots of folks on that. All right. What do we have next, Phil?
Well, next we have, actually, there was no shortage of articles this week on Amazon's delivery innovations. This is one of those areas where you wonder just how much they're going to be shaping the future in a lot of regards. And everything from traffic patterns, through floating warehouses and dirigibles. It gets pretty quirky. But overall, it just seems to be more examples of how forward-thinking Amazon is when it comes to optimizing its delivery systems. Patents are hinting right now at Amazon self-driving delivery trucks that can anticipate lane changes, in the automated vehicle space. Right now, one of the big problems with automated vehicles, such as the Google car and all things like that, is that the systems that they use can't necessarily, change lanes effectively at the right time. So Amazon, I guess, wants to be able to bypass that with a system that they're working on a patent for that can get their delivery trucks, their automated self-driving delivery trucks in the future to anticipate lane changes. Also, other delivery innovations in these other articles include everything from floating warehouses to pocket-sized drones to private tunnel networks. It's just astonishing. Also, they've got the treasure truck. Maybe you don't know. They've got a treasure truck, which is kind of like their version of the food truck that just goes into certain neighborhoods and just makes things available like right now to you. I imagine it consists of basic staple items. But it makes you wonder how ubiquitous are they going to be? Are they just going to be everywhere all the time with everything, with all these articles?
Well, it's really cool, and we can take a look at some of these different things, the patents that they've gotten. This is one thing that I continue to tell clients all the time is you really need to consider being an FBA, not only because of they ship stuff in 2 days. By being in that FBA program, we're selling on Amazon in general and letting them control the fulfillment of your product. You get to take advantage of these things as they start to come to fruition. A lot of these things seem like pie in the sky things, but you listen to Jeff Bezos talk about him. He's serious. He's like, this is something we're going to push. He's an innovator. He's an abundance thinker. He's a 10 times thinker. He wants to innovate and change the rules and how things have always been done. He's looking at creating new rules and how they will be done. So when you take a look at some of these different ideas, it seems kind of, the future. It seems like, this is far in the future, but I can tell you that he's the type of person that's, pushing to make this different stuff happen. I also noticed on that one article that you talked about, Phil, that's the one on recode.net, where it has all the floating warehouses. When you said it first, I thought, oh, are we talking about floating in the water? And I saw the blimp on there. So it's actually a warehouse in the sky. Man, I wouldn't want that falling on my house. But the tunnel network is really intriguing to see. The whole idea of packages zooming underneath us. That's kind of an interesting idea. And you just have a little port that comes up. You got this multiple drones assembling to carry larger packages. I know a couple of clients that would appreciate that. But it's just really interesting how innovative Jeff Bezos and Amazon is being in terms of really pushing what technology does today. Tim, I imagine you definitely have some thoughts on some of these different items if you'd like to chime in.
Yeah, Amazon is all about trying to basically eliminate the middleman, trying to get product to the customer in the most efficient way possible. Amazon has their own fleet of trucks now. I believe they even have their own fleet of planes that they use to transport cargo between their warehouses, and they're just continuing in that same vein to continue to eliminate their reliance on third-party sources. And being a company that is always innovating, they are they're really in a great position to be able to bring these new ideas to the table. So they may seem really radical, but I think that some of these can open up the floodgates for a lot of future technologies that lead to getting products sooner. Amazon's always touting their promise to get products to you within a day or even within a couple of hours. So a lot of these are going to be ways to help them accomplish those goals. And I know that they do work closely with, let's say, the FAA as well as government entities to make sure that they do everything above board, and make sure that there's legislation to allow them to do what they want to do. So yeah, it's kind of exciting to see what they have coming up in the future.
Fantastic. Thank you, Tim. At this time, I'll do a quick commercial for Awesome Dynamic. Tim, would you mind throwing the website up for just a moment? And before I get into that commercial, the reason we hold these webinars weekly is not only to update you on important information pertaining to Amazon, we also do specialized presentations on specific topics that are extremely valuable. You can actually watch a lot of the content that we produced on our website under the blog section to really learn how to do a lot of these things on your own. And we get into really great detail, most of which isn't necessarily very obvious on Amazon's website when you're trying to sell on Amazon. So definitely check out our blog. There's lots of great articles there. But if you need to get a hold of us, you just call us at 800-238-1811, or you can visit our website at awesomedynamic.com. You can join our awesome list, as you can see on the left side of Tim's screen there. Put in your email, and we'll update you on the webinar and any other articles that we have that come out. And if you're, as we are talking about Amazon now, that isn't the only thing we do. We also do web design and search engine optimization as well. So if those are different things that you need help with, make sure you demand awesome and choose Awesome Dynamic. With that being said, again, please ask us your questions in the comments on the right side of your screen. But I would like to go back to that, to those different delivery innovations, see if Phil, Amy, or Blake had any additional comments or questions about those different articles that we had there.
I actually do, real quick. I mean, I'm freewheeling a little bit here, but when I was reviewing all these articles, I looked at them. There were more articles. I had to cut it down to 3. There were articles about Amazon looking into certain shipping lanes along the coast. There were articles about Amazon looking to see if they can tap into the electricity from street lights and landing their drones on top of the poles to recharge so that they could get greater distance and coverage out of a drone. It just makes me wonder. I mean, and then another article I wrote said that Amazon is bigger than the 4 biggest big box retailers combined.
Wow.
So, and when you speak of the big box, the first one that comes to mind is Walmart. And Walmart, there were articles about how Walmart is just gearing up to try to take on Amazon. And I'm just wondering if all of these delivery innovations, if they are maybe Bezos's way of seeing that Walmart is gearing up. Walmart basically, I mean, they've got a fulfillment center in every town, at least maybe in some cases a few of them. Just each big box store by itself, if they were to model it that way, could be considered a fulfillment center, couldn't it?
Yes, and that's there's been a lot of rumblings about how Amazon could partner, not necessarily Walmart, but with different types of stores that do have already a footprint in a lot of different places across the United States as a way to have essentially a fulfillment center everywhere, which would be convenient. But yeah, it's interesting. I know I do know of a couple of our clients that had relationships with Walmart that after working and selling their product through Amazon decided they didn't want to deal with what you have to deal with when you sell to Walmart. I remember a specific story that one of my clients said that they were basically gearing up and producing a whole bunch of product and stocking their entire warehouse for the 1 week that all the Walmart trucks would show up. And it basically disrupted their entire business. It was all churning around what Walmart wanted, and it was just really disruptive for them. And they didn't like that was something that kind of drove their business model. And the other thing they didn't like is, they kept being pressured to lower their prices on what they're charging for their products. And yes, if you sell 1 million things at a buck a piece, you just made $1 million. But if they keep pushing you down and down and down, that can be very frustrating. But Walmart is very innovative. I've definitely looked into some articles about how they run their systems, where there's they have tracking chips in all of their pallets that go from their main distribution centers to the stores. Their POS system is tied back into their system, so it can automate additional deliveries to the different Walmart stores. So they have done their share of innovations with things. I even that happens to be the closest grocery store where I'm at right now. I had never typically shopped groceries at Walmart, but I shop on their grocery app, and I can just show up at the side of the building, and they put the product right into my car and I groceries, and I drive back home. So they've got some pretty cool innovations that they're working on, and the idea that they're being innovative, and that's where you take a look at some of the other chains that, and I know there was an article that came out about how a lot of big box stores are closing, like Macy's is closing a whole bunch of stores. I heard a couple other big retailers are closing, and it's all about innovation, adaptation. And in some of the chambers, local chambers that we're involved in, a lot of business owners have a negative view on Amazon. They're taking our business away. I think I even said it last week in this webinar. You have to be forward thinking. You have to adapt. You have to evolve, and stop having a narrow view of how business is always done, and look at it as we need to innovate and change how business will be, and move forward with the rest of the world, because technology changes awfully fast.
Right.
Tim, anybody else? Any comments on that? Tim, you're on mute, by the way.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, I think it's just really, really slick. Once again, just knowing that all the innovations that are happening and that Amazon's kind of at the forefront of a lot of them is really exciting. You were mentioning before about Walmart is innovating, but Walmart's always seen as kind of the powerhouse in this particular category. You talked about a client that we worked with that was frustrated with the experience. I believe that they also had asked to basically have the manufacturer modify their product specifically for something that Walmart wanted, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
I don't recall. It sounds about right, though.
Yeah, it was something to that effect, I believe. But they're no longer top dog. Now, I do know that companies like Walmart's now even have their own third-party, seller interface where you can sell your products on Walmart.com. It's very limited in terms of its scope and and it's by invite only, I believe. And I've heard some sellers get their product on there, but I think that the majority of shoppers who want to do online shopping go to Amazon. It's the first one I think of whenever I want to buy something online. So I don't know how much traffic Walmart.com necessarily sees, but Amazon is poising themselves to be the top dog for years to come. So I don't think that's going to really change anytime soon, as long as Amazon keeps on innovating like this.
Yeah, it's interesting, with the shopping online. If you think about Walmart, they're really known for having the low price, lower price than anybody else. So they private label. They have their great value private label, and if they're able to position themselves as a low price leader in the world of e-commerce, that could be powerful for them. Amazon's trying to do the same thing. They have the Amazon Basics. It's funny when you watch the Amazon Basics video, why it is the way it is. They basically private label products, and in the video they say, we don't. The reason our product prices are lower is because we don't spend money on things people don't care about, like advertising and marketing. So it's interesting that that's kind of the promotion behind the whole Amazon Basics. Anyhow, to wrap things up here, Phil, thank you for sharing these articles with us and bringing those to us. Again, for those that are watching, if you would, head over to our website, awesomedynamic.com. We would love if you could leave a 5-star review on our Google My Business listing. All you have to do is scroll down to the bottom of the page, and on the bottom of the page, there is a Review Us button. On that Review Us button, you'll get a thumbs up, thumbs down. Of course, it's thumbs up because this content is great. And leave us 5 stars on either Google or Facebook. We would really appreciate it. There's our wonderful staff. We'll go back to that in a moment. We finally updated our website to reflect the amount of staff that we have. You want to throw that back up there, Tim?
Yeah, the back button's not working right now.
The back button's not working. What's going on? And Tim's the tech guy.
I know. I'm trying to do this full screen this time, and it's apparently not doing as well. But yes, here we go.
There's our great staff, and if you need any help with your Amazon SEO website, give us a call, 800-238-1811. Website is awesomedynamic.com. If you want free assistance, all you got to do is come to this webinar and ask, and we'll be happy to help you. Also, this is on YouTube. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. You'll get these right to your inbox as well. Thank you so much.